Well, here's some of the progress I've had with my 67 Camaro. I picked this up recently, and there was a lot of loose ends that had to be tied up here. What started as a simple fuel line replacement turned out to be a rather extensive list of stuff that I had to get done. I replaced the fuel line with a 3/8 line. It was a 5/16. Replaced the filter. I had to replace the fuel pump. While I was underneath there, the choke was sticking, so I lubed that up and adjusted the pipe for the vacuum advance hose, so that looks pretty stock. I put a new battery and cables on this thing. They kind of look original. That's actually there's a battery, a sealed battery inside this case. This isn't just the cover. This is it just looks like an old battery. And then I put the original style clamps on it. The AC brackets, this AC pump was not hooked up right, and the brackets were all loose and misaligned, and parts were missing, bolts were wrong, so I straightened all that out. Same with the AIR pump. This didn't have a belt on it, so I got a new belt. Looks like a factory reproduction belt, and I went through the pump and cleaned it all out, and it seems to be working great. Radiator had a slight leak in it, so I took it in and had it record. This is the original tanks on it. Looks original. I got had the wrong cap on it, so I had a remake. I bought a remake cap for it. Heater hoses I replaced to the factory style heater hoses and clamps, and I replaced that lower radiator hose with a factory remake with the proper clamps. These bolts were all either the wrong ones, or they were really filthy and bottoming out. Washers were missing. I changed all the plugs and rerouted the spark plug wires. That cable right there is for it was a campaign they did for when if the motor mount would let go, it would this cable would hold the engine from coming up and binding the throttle and sticking the throttle wide open. So the cable was routed wrong, so I rerouted that. As you can see, the motor mount bolts themselves, the ones that hold the saddle, are in upside down. One thing I've got to do is change that. Power steering pump brackets were all misaligned and wrong bolts. The hose was routed wrong, so I had to reroute that. Headlight doors are both operational. I had to rebuild the motors, one motor, and replace the relays and the circuit breaker. I put a original style washer bottle in there. I had the original bracket. I have to install the nozzles on that panel right there. The engine timing was adjusted. I adjusted the dwell on the points. This cable on this side to keep that engine from coming up, they had one installed on this side too, kind of really ridiculous the way they had it installed, so I removed that because it doesn't belong on this side, and they had it installed up wrong anyway. From here I'm going to Probably rebuild the carburetor. The accelerator pump doesn't have a very good shot, and it's probably the rubber is broke down because of the type of gasoline we have to use today with the ethanol in it. And from here I'm going to move to the interior, where we're going to install a new radio antenna. The turn signal switch, you got to hold it down. It doesn't hold by itself, so I'll probably need a new turn signal switch. Brake pedal bushings are kind of loose, and the gauges they work, but the lights don't light up on them. Align the windows and the weather strips and stuff like that, and we should be ready to cruise this year.